totally awesome selection.
Truly amazing prices.
Guaranteed.
Welcome back. So the flowers are planted, the patio furniture is out, you're enjoying a nice night, but the bugs are bugging. So what do? Our guest, Paul Tarsitano, is an outdoor and wilderness first aid instructor. Paul, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
What do we do? I mean, this is the thing. We're trying to enjoy our backyards right now, but the bugs are out there. What do we do?
Well, first of all, you want to be aware of what type of bugs you're dealing with. You have biting insects, mosquitoes, black flies, horseflies, and you have stinging insects, bees, wasps, and hornets. So what you want to do, first of all, be aware of your surroundings. For the stinging insect, you want to keep away from these.
What do we have here?
Yeah, these are hornets' nests, actually. These are paper wasp nests, so you want to give them a safe distance from these, because it's interesting. A hornet or a bee or wasp will only sting when feel threatened or if they're protecting their nest. If you're coming too close to the nest, they'll attack. So what you want to do is try to prevent swatting from them. That's
Right.
the most natural thing to do, is try to move them away.
Right.
But that could trigger actually a sting.
Right. Well, it is always quite entertaining, though, at the family reunion when your ants are running around escaping the sting of a bee. But if you do have a nest in your yard, what if you want to get rid of it? What do we do?
I really recommend that you get a professional to remove it,
Right.
because a lot of these type of nests are up in trees or up high. So using a ladder and try to get this off,
Yeah.
sure enough, you're going to have 2 injuries, possibly be getting stung and falling off the ladder.
Right.
So get a professional to remove them, and a lot less hassles.
And also important to remember that you do need these insects in your yard depending on what you have in your yard, right?
Absolutely, especially the bees.
Right.
Right? For pollination and things like that. Now, say you do get stung by a bee or hornet or wasp, there's a few things you should do. First of all, you want to make sure that the stinger is not in place.
Okay, and how can you actually see it?
You can actually see it. It's like a small sliver. However, the bee will remain with the sac in there and will pump venom for up to 20 minutes. So what you want to do, first of all, is try to scrape the stinger away with a plastic card, or if that doesn't work, get some tweezers to remove it. After you remove it, soap and water to prevent infection, and a cold compressant. A cold compressant for no more than 10 minutes.
No more than 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then what I would apply for bites and stings is a topical antihistamine, because a lot of people don't realize that a bite or a sting is actually a mild form of allergic reaction. So what I have in my first aid kit is the Benadryl itch relief stick. This actually blocks the histamine, which reduces the pain, the swelling, and also the itching.
Okay. What's the difference between a bee sting and a wasp sting?
Usually with a bee sting, the stinger is embedded, because the bee stinger has a barbed stinger which stays embedded. As a wasp stinger is smooth, and they could sting multiple times.
Okay.
That's the big difference.
Now, what about running and getting mud? Does that actually work, or is that just something that people did?
If you're lost in the wilderness and you have nothing else, a few things you can do to prevent you from being bitten. Cover your unexposed skin with mud, get a smoky fire going, and after being bitten, the problem I have by applying mud on, that it could cause more of an infection.
Right.
But you could actually put the mud in a plastic bag and clean the bag and use that as a cold compressant if you don't have a cold pack.
Okay. So as a last resort,
Exactly.
it's something you can try, but it's not your best bet.
No, not at all. Now for mosquitoes, the biting insects, the
Right.
black flies, the
Yes.
horse flies, there's a few things you can do. They're attracted to dark colors because dark colors attracts heat, and that's what insects are attracted to, as well as scents. So shampoo, colognes that have a heavy scent, they're certainly attracted to that.
Right.
When it comes to the stinging insects, what you want to do is, before you drink out of a can, a pop bottle, or a glass of some sort, you should definitely look in it, because they're attracted to the sugar or the sweetness, and they'll usually find their way in there.
Right.
Especially when you're having a picnic, you want to cover all the food first before eating.
And that's why a clear glass is always good too, because you don't know what's in that pop can if you've been drinking that for over a half an hour and your eye's not constantly on it.
Absolutely.
Okay, any advice for black flies up at the cottage area? This is a big problem for people. How do you protect yourself against black flies?
Well, fortunately, the black flies are slowly dying out because it's a short season for them.
Right.
Clothing, especially for black flies, because they're very small and they can't get through clothing. An insect repellent, that contains 7 to 24% DEET is the most effective. Now, when using on children, please read the instructions when it comes to DEET, when it comes to children, because there's a certain age that it's not recommended. Okay. I usually apply the DEET on the clothing. I like to use different types of mosquito nets or bug jackets for sure. And another little trick for black flies, you may not look a fashion statement, but if you use cedar branches and place these all around you,
there you go.
Black flies need a runway to land.
Okay.
And they'll have a difficult time in combination with the mud, the smoke, and the cedar branches.
Oh boy. All right. Well, thank you so much. Great tips. We'll have a more enjoyable and entertaining summer because of all this. Thanks for being here. When we come back, we will have your weather update, and in entertainment,